All right, everyone, so part 2 of our wide-angle, shallow depth of field panoramic shot. We're in Lightroom here, and you can see I have all of the photos that we took. So we can scroll through these really fast, and you can kind of see what we did. I showed these in the actual video as we were shooting it, so you saw kind of what we were shooting. So that's what they look like. To start processing these, actually what we're going to do is we're going to click on this first shot. We're going to go all the way over here to the last shot. And we are going to right click and we're going to click Photo Merge HDR. And here's the thing with this process is each one of these photos with my camera is 24 megapixel. We took 23 photos, so that's a lot of data to churn through and a lot of processing for Lightroom to do. So here are the settings that I use. De-ghost amount, I keep that on low. De-ghosting would be things like trees moving in the background or clouds moving, anything that would be moving from shot to shot. This will go through and kind of pick out one photo from the series and use that as a reference point. I just click on auto align, auto tone, I leave all that stuff. And then once this pops up, you're gonna click merge. I already actually processed this, so in the sense of saving some time, I'm just gonna cancel out of this. Again, you would just hit merge, it would chunk through that. Here is what the photo looks like. So as you can see, I went over further on the street. This is what I was talking about in the actual shot, where you want to make sure you have enough overlay. So had I missed something in here, we would have been without that information and it kind of would have been trash. Since it's out here, it's not a big deal. We can go ahead and crop in. And in fact, this image, before I hit reset, it had actually auto cropped. So let's go ahead and grab our crop tool. First thing, we'll just pull this in until everything is covered, and then we'll just hit enter. So that's going to be our shot. As you can see, we have a really shallow depth of field here all the way through, very blurry in the background. If you shot this with a wide angle lens that would give you this effect, you wouldn't get anywhere near this amount of background blur. So that's something that you get with this technique. Now, something to keep in mind is our first shot had this much of the car in focus. Had we gone in further and let's say this was our initial shot, our background blur would have been that much more. But then you would have had to been sure that you took the proper amount of overlap on everything. You just have to be more careful when you go in closer like that. Photoshop needs to be able to align those photos. So when you do this on your own, definitely experiment with going in closer, further out, things like that. But generally, the closer you go in, the more dramatic that depth of field is going to be. So let's run through a quick edit here in Lightroom. As you can see, this is a very big image, so it's rendering everything right now. So as you can see, we're sharp all the way front to back. Let's grab our gradient tool here. We're going to reset this and we're going to pull straight down from the top. We're going to bring down the exposure a little bit on the sky, maybe pump up the blue a little bit, and maybe pump up the red some, because we were at sunset. And then let's do the same thing on the bottom, but on this one, we're gonna leave the exposure down. We don't want to add any blue, and we actually want to desaturate this a little bit. We want that asphalt to look more gray. And then let's grab our radial brush tool. We'll go in here. We want to brighten up the car because that's the focus. Put that kind of right in the middle of the car. And similar to a tutorial that I posted a couple weeks ago. This is a single shot image, so we want to pull back some of that detail. So I'm going to open up those shadows, get some detail back in those wheels, and then maybe just to balance things out, we could pull a little bit of the highlight back. And then the car's really blue, so I think we can add some warmth to that. So overall, pretty good there. I think we could go down. Let's just go down the line here. So now we're in the overall image. We're out of those adjustments. Let's add some clarity to the image. So we'll just pull that over a little bit. Again, I think overall we probably want to pull up some of the shadows. I like things a little more vibrant, so I'm going to pump that up a little bit. I think the overall exposure is good. Something that I like to do with my greens in here is we can make the greens more green, and we can push the yellows towards more green. And then if we go into saturation, we can saturate those up a little bit. Same thing with the blues. We can make the blues a little bit darker for the sky. And you can also saturate those a little bit if you want, or you can desaturate them depending on how you feel. Sharpening, we can add some sharpening. If you have alter option and click on this, it'll show you what detail it's going to be sharpening. So we really just want to sharpen the car, so we're going to pull that up. Noise reduction, we don't really need any, we're fine. One thing that I do have with my 85mm lens is it does get some chromatic aberration. So you can see here on the edges how it turns pink, and here it turns green. So here you can actually turn this up and it gets rid of that color cast. So that helped out a little bit. And then if we go down here, we can add a little post-crop vignette. And then we might want to go in here and just brighten up the car a little bit more. So I mean, that's pretty good for a Lightroom only edit. I'm honestly pretty happy with that. I think if we go any further, we'd go into Photoshop and maybe get rid of these poles. We can probably do that really fast. So to open this in Photoshop, you just right click, edit in Photoshop. All right, so this is a pretty big file, so it took a few minutes to open. Well, not a few minutes, maybe a minute. But anyways, going back to these poles, let's get rid of these really fast. So I think probably the easiest thing to do is just to clone over, get a little bit bigger brush, come right in here, and just paint up a little bit. You can probably just fudge this in there since it's all out of focus. Since it's all out of focus, it's really easy to just kind of blend in by going both sides. And then we can just draw a selection around this top pole with our lasso tool. And then we'll just go to Edit, Fill, Content Aware Fill. And our light pole is gone. And then we can, let's see how this does. Let's just draw a selection around here. Let's see what happens. Again, Edit, Fill, Content Aware. And D, pretty good. And then one more. D, left out. So just like that, our light poles are gone. Looks like we have a little something right here. Here, while we're in here, let's get rid of these guys too. Still have a little bit of blue cast on the top of the car. So we'll see if we can get rid of that and then maybe just punch up the image a little bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that this one looks as is. And then we're just going to go up here one more time. We're going to go to Color Effects Pro. So we're just going to run the white neutralizer. We're going to click right here on this blue spot. And then we'll just click OK. All right, and I actually like what that did to the entire image. It got rid of a lot of the blue cast on the asphalt, and it didn't drastically change the color of the sky. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'll just put a mask on that, and this time we're going to paint in black, and we'll just go over the sky. I want a little bit more blue up there that it took away. So I'm going to go ahead and call this our final shot. Hopefully everyone got something out of this this week with our focus on depth of field. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave them down there as well. I kind of like the idea of taking a week's worth of videos and kind of devoting it to one topic, maybe talking a little bit about the theory and examples and things like that, and then doing kind of a real world shoot and then coming back and editing. So let me know what you think about that format. But until next time, take care.